Hello, people! Happy Friday! I'm going to take a moment here. I'm not only on time, I am 1 minute early for this live. That is so not me. I am usually that person that is scrambling to get there just on time. And so I'm going to use this minute to allow people to arrive, to join me for this live where we're going to talk about boundaries. So while people are arriving, I'm just going to jam out for a couple minutes here. I don't know if you remember this song. Oh, it feels so good. Those of you that are just arriving, just take a breath. If you are in the middle of multitasking, I'm not starting just yet. You can put your phone down. You can just listen to me. But I'm actually, for once, not going to just dive right into the material. I'm going to give everybody a minute to arrive, to join me. And so while we wait for others, just take a second for yourself and catch your breath. And if you have to do something because you're busy, that's all good. I actually want you to give yourself permission. If boundaries is something that's important to you, and if boundaries is something that you struggle with, and now is not the time to be listening to this video, then honor your boundaries. Start practicing this right now. And you can watch this recording later. You don't need to watch it right this very minute. But if you have the time and the space, then I encourage you to watch if you can. But if not, give yourself permission to just even listen. Like, put me down, put me in your pocket, or put me in your earbuds and continue doing what you're doing. If it's going for a walk, if it's still cleaning up from the morning rush, if it's something that you can listen and still do a task that's not maybe diminishing what you're doing on either task, then it's okay to not be sitting and holding the phone in front of your face. So this is today's topic. First of all, this is episode 1. This is day 1 of doing these live broadcasts on Fridays, committing to you. My commitment to you is I'm going to show up consistently and talk about topics that are related to how to lead as a woman in this world using your feminine power. This is a paradigm shift for many of us. This is a new way of showing up in the world, for your family, for your work, for yourself. This is not stuff that we learned in the textbooks. This is not stuff that many of our parents taught us. But if you apply the practical tools that I'm going to share with you today and other days, I promise you, you will start living a life that's more authentically aligned with who you are. And at the end of the day, if you are authentically aligned with who you are, what else do you really need? If you're able to honor your values, maybe their safety, maybe their security, maybe their love, maybe their connection, maybe their authenticity, loyalty, compassion. If you can honor those values and be authentic to yourself, I promise you all the other material stuff that you think you want and that you think you need, the money, the love, the partner, the home, that will just be like bonus. That will be cherry on top. So, Jessica, it's so great to see you. And I want to say, how you can be with me in this moment is to resonate. Like, when I say something that resonates with you, please add a comment, hit the like button, hit the heart button. It's important. It's important because it's our way to connect. And part of my intentions in coming live for this is to really connect with my community of amazing people. Amazing people. And the best way is when we actually start having it be a two-way dialogue. So I'm going to ask questions on these lives. And if you want to get out of your own bubble and you want to be in service to others, not just yourself, but to this world that's important to you, then I really encourage you to actually comment and share and like. All right, let's jump in. So we're talking boundaries today. And there was this topic, which is something I talk about a lot, but was really came to light to me. Like I had a personal experience last weekend and it's like multi-layered. So I'm going to just share with you what happened. So I am a slime-free home. I do not like that slime that kids bring home. Stuff is gooey, it's messy, it's just plain old obnoxious to me. And so I've set that boundary in my house. No slime, kids. It doesn't exist. So a couple weeks ago, my daughter, she's 7 years old. She comes home from school. She's got her little scholastic book thing, that thing where the teachers say, get some books for your children. It's going to help. Every book you buy is another book for another child in our classroom. So she comes home with it. And honestly, I usually ignore those. Like they're just more noise and overwhelm to me. But she was so excited. And so I've said, okay, Stas, go ahead and flip through, find 3 things. It's reading, it's good stuff, right? I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to spend my money on something for my kids, let's have it be books. So I said, find 3 things that you want. So she shows them to me. She tells me why they're important to her. And one of the items was slime, like a book about, it wasn't just plain old slime. It was like learning about slime and making your own, do it your own slime. And she says, mommy, please, please, please. Like, I promise I'll do it at OFA's. OFA is my mom. My mom does not have a slime. My mom allows slime in her house. It's not a slime-free zone. So she's like, I promise I'll take it to OFA's. And so I stopped and I said, okay, you know what? She's super excited about this. This is something that she can take over to my mom's house. They can have a little project together. Sure. Order it. Well, every week she's been like, when is it coming? When is it coming? I'm like, I don't know. It's coming. It's getting delivered to your school, Stas. So last Friday, she comes home and she's like, it got delivered. It got delivered. She's super excited and she's showing it to me. And it's a Friday and I'm just trying to wrap up my work week and I've got a lot going on. And I'm like, oh my God, I took a pause. I'm like, Stassi, show it to me. And then I'm like, in my head, I'm like, okay, got to go back. I got to switch gears. I got to get back to my work. And she's like, please, mommy, can I just do the slime outside? I promise I will keep it outside. I promise. And in that moment, I'm like, come on, Lauren, come on. No big deal. You know what? It's going to be outside. It's fine. She's so excited. Like, look at her face. Just say yes. Don't be so strict and type A. So I say yes. She goes out there. She does her slime. She does her thing. I'm like, oh, good. She's busy now and she's doing something she enjoys. Now I don't have the mom guilt that I can go back and finish up a couple emails. So the next day, Saturday rolls around. And Saturday, I am work is not on my mind. I'm with the kids and I'm cleaning up in the kitchen and my foot steps on an icky, gooey, cold, blubbery piece of slime. And I was so agitated, you guys. I was so annoyed. I'm like, Stassi, we thought we talked about this. And she's like, and then I see Bianca, my 3-year-old, has the slime too. And it's like kind of in this, like in my couch a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm frustrated. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing. This is important. This is germane to this story. Before I went downstairs and was like, it's not a work day, it's a Saturday, I set an intention for myself. I do this every day, by the way, and I strongly encourage you to do it. My intention for the day was to be fully present with the kids. So to make that more, to like double down on it and really hold myself accountable, I put my phone onto airplane mode. I'm like, I don't even want to be tempted by this thing. I don't want to be looking at this thing. I don't want to be on this. It's getting put away and it's on airplane mode. There's no one coming into my world. I've got my 4 kids here. This is our Saturday. This is our time and I'm protecting it, right? I'm making a boundary for my family right now. So phone is upstairs on airplane mode. I'm downstairs with the kids. I just step on the slime and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so annoying. So then I pause and I'm like, Lauren, this is why you set boundaries and you didn't honor your boundary. You know you're not a slime-free home. This is not Stassi's problem. This is you abandoning your truth and what you said and what you don't want. So when you lower your boundaries and things happen and consequences happen, don't point the finger at them. Just look at those 3 fingers pointing back at you. So that's happening in my mind in real time. Guess what's next? My mind goes, oh my gosh, this is an aha moment. This is what I need to talk about. I need to go live right now and talk about boundaries. And it was so crystal clear to me in that moment about boundaries and why they're so important. And this is what happens when I have these moments of like, I want to share it right away because I feel like others can relate and it can be of service to you. So I'm like, I got to go upstairs and I got to share this right now. It's in the moment for the moment. Run upstairs, grab my phone, and there's that little airplane on it. You know, the airplane mode symbol, which I'm going to put on right away right now so I don't get interrupted. I'm like, oh my gosh, here I go again. I'm losing my boundary within my boundary. I'm laughing at myself because I was about to click off the airplane mode and I was about to say, well, this is really important. I need to do this. And I did catch myself. And I said, no. You set that boundary 20 minutes ago so you can be present with your kids. And you're here to talk about boundaries and you're breaking a boundary. Stop. And it was a big, like, wow moment for me. And so I put the phone back down and it was great because I'd had it on airplane mode and I kind of tucked it away. It forced a little bit more of like accountability to have to take it off airplane mode. Because if the phone had been with me downstairs next to me in that moment, I was so fired up, I could have easily been on autopilot and just done it. And so I put the phone back. I go back downstairs and I'm like, I said to myself, I think it was like around 8:30. I'm like, till 10:30, Lauren, till 10:30, that phone is not even available for anything. And if kids want to show you something, you want to order something on Amazon that you remember you need to buy, like, forget it. Write it on a piece of paper and you can do it at 10:30. So I go back downstairs and I just took a breath and I'm like, wow, this is why I set that boundary so I can be present with my kids. And we sat outside and I regrouped myself and I got myself grounded and we had this beautiful morning. Beautiful morning. We were outside. We were watching the squirrels play in the trees. I was actually tickled because I didn't point out the squirrels. My daughter did. And we were laughing and we were watching and we were joking about what their little scenarios in their heads were saying as we were watching the squirrels. We were like playing it out, what their conversations would be. And we created like a fun little vision board. Like we did some fun things that I don't normally sit down, slow down, and do with them. And it felt so good. It felt good for a few reasons. It felt good because I honored my boundary. It felt good because I knew why I set that boundary in the first place. And it felt good because it served me. Like that being present with my kids was exactly what I needed. Exactly what I needed. And what was even cooler, the deeper learning to this that I took away from it was, my value of spontaneity has served me well because it does keep me out of my head. It keeps me just doing things in the moment without overthinking it. But it also prevents me from sometimes creating consistency and deepening a little bit more. So had I done that live, had I done the live about boundaries in that moment for that moment, it would have been fun. It would have been like high energy, whatever. But by stopping and pausing, I said to myself, well, now I know my topic that I'm going to talk about. when I do my first Friday go live, and I can actually think about it a little bit more, and I can actually put some more thought to it, and I can connect with it. And so that's my why. So boundaries are so important because this is important. If you've been kind of tuning in and tuning out, listen, pay attention. We don't set boundaries to keep people out. We can set boundaries for ourselves so that we don't make an emotional decision in the moment. So when you're doing your boundary setting, it's really important that you stop, you pause, and you actually connect it to why you're setting that boundary. Because I'm telling you, in those moments, this is why people end up setting boundaries but abandoning them. Life plays on our heartstrings. And what do? We make emotional decisions. We make most decisions through emotion. So if we're not careful, we abandon the boundary because in the moment it feels good, it feels right. So that's why it's so important to do this work and do this when you're clear and you're quiet and you're with yourself. And so these are the practical tips. This is how you can actually put it into practice. Write them down. Write them down in the morning when you're quiet, when you're alone, and write down why, your intention behind setting that boundary. And we have all sorts of boundaries, right? There's physical boundaries, there's sexual boundaries, there's emotional boundaries, there's intellectual boundaries. So it's worth it to actually go through and do a little audit with yourself. What are my boundaries for each of these? What am I willing to say yes to? What am I willing to say no to? Because what will happen, this is sort of the fun part, is you will be tested. The universe is going to test you. So first step, set the boundaries clearly. Now, if you have not been doing this for a while, and this is something that you kind of know about, but next step is to tell somebody. Tell somebody your boundaries, what you're doing, not the person that you're trying to maybe hold the boundary against, but somebody, a friend. Because when you say it out loud and when someone else knows it, they can be a mirror for you. Until you've kind of gotten to the mastery stage of catching yourself and really heightened self-awareness, it's important that you don't just write them down because you will self-sabotage. You will self-sabotage. So it's important you write it down, you share it with somebody, and then you've got to just really tell that person, like give them permission to call you on it. Give them permission to say, hey, you're my mirror. You're kind of my accountability buddy. I'm telling you this boundary so that I don't get in my own way. So I don't become my own worst enemy. And that's what's been actually really cool. So in the group that I run for women, this month is all about intention setting. And part about intention setting is setting these boundaries and sharing them with one another. And when we've shared them with one another, we've now put it out there. And we now catch ourselves when we start cheating ourselves. Does this resonate with you? Give me a like, give me a heart if you feel this, if you resonate with it. Do you struggle with this? Do you catch yourself? I would bet that we all struggle with it. It's what we do with it. It's how we respond to it. And then the last step is to just really tune into yourself every day and check in. Am I holding true to my truth? Am I following my boundaries? Or am I abandoning them? Because what happens, the result you get, because it's hard. This stuff is hard work. This means this is all about breaking those old patterns. This is all about getting past the self-sabotaging behavior. And so what happens, the result when you actually stand firm is you feel empowered. You feel like you are being true to yourself. And so when someone else is knocking at your door and asking you to do something, you can say no or yes with an intentional why. And I'm not even saying you have to share your why with them, but you in your heart know your why. And it becomes that much easier. And I am all about simplicity. I am all about efficiency. I am all about wanting to make this stuff that seems so easy in theory, but really difficult when we apply it to our own lives. Again, it's easy to look at someone else's life and say, I'm just going to use Jessica here as an example because she's here. Jessica, why are you doing that? You're getting in your own way. But for Jessica, it's hard. These are her lessons. And so part of this also is important because once you clearly set your intentions, get ready. Like put the seatbelt on because the universe is going to test you to see if you really mean it and if you're really committed. Watch the signs. And the more you tune in, the more you're going to be like, oh my God, it's a test. It's another test. And you probably, if you're like me, I don't know how many times I've had to sometimes do that same test over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to focus. Nothing's going to bother me. And then the phone rings and I look at it. I'm like, oh, this could be really important. I better get it. If I was clear and said, I'm only answering the phone if it's my children's school calling or, I don't even know. I think that would be the only thing that in those kind of moments would tell me I need to answer it. Then when the call comes in and it's my ex and I'm thinking, oh, maybe he needs to tell me something important about the kids, I can say, hold on a second, time out, I'm not taking this call right now. Doesn't mean I'm ignoring it, but I'm going to honor my boundary right now and I'll get back to it when I can. Do you see this difference? Like this is a slight nuance, but it's important. Yes. Okay, cool. I do. I see some of you are relating to this. That's awesome. Keep that coming, please. Keep your interaction. It's more fun when we're interacting, right? My intention is this does become interactive. So anyway, if you're still here and you're watching, just take a second here, right? This is Friday. We're about to go into the weekend. Our work weeks are wrapping up. The weekend onslaught of activities is on the horizon. Like, what's there for you? What boundaries do you need to put in place right now so that you do stay on your path, on your track? If you're watching this, put it in the comments. What's one boundary you want to hold yourself accountable for? I'm going to think of one. I'm going to take the second here. So let's see. Mine is still really that be present on the weekend. Like, actually, I'm going to push myself. So I was kind of teasing myself earlier today because I really want Fridays, like end of day Friday. Like, do you remember that feeling at school on a Friday getting picked up and it's like, it's the weekend. It's the weekend. Like, that's the best energy. Those are the pickups that I want to do with my kids and create special traditions and memories and moments. And I only have my kids every other Friday to do this. And I've never set an intention to say, I am the person picking them up on Friday. I'm saying it to you. I'm saying it to me right now. I will be picking up my kids today for both pickups, 1:15 and 2:50. The work goes away and the weekend begins the moment they get out of school. And we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun this weekend. I love this. Corinne is sharing, stop running errands for my adult children. Hell yeah. Empower them. That's great, Corinne. I mean, ask yourselves if you can relate to what Corinne's putting in there. Are you enabling your kids by thinking you're actually serving them? When you set boundaries for yourself, you create self-respect and it actually reflects onto them. This might be scary, but maybe they don't need you as much as you think they need you. And then it's like, if they don't need me, who needs me? The number one person that needs you is yourself. So start there. Start filling your cup up from there. And then and only then, make the choices in your day, in your weekend that are going to best serve you. All right. You know, these lives, I just want to be clear with all of you. They might be sometimes 10 minutes, they might be 30 minutes. My commitment is more about showing up on a regular basis and sharing topics that I know are going through all of our minds. I'm always listening in to the women that I work with in my group, that I coach one-on-one, and this has been something that is a common theme. So just know that if there's something that you want me to cover, you find really valuable, how can I best support you? My focus, my expertise is on confidence and mindset and positive reframing thinking and leading in this world. So tuck that in your mind. Like, obviously have your topics be related to where maybe you're struggling in relationships or in your career or as a parent. And I'll speak to it. Jessica, awesome. Prioritizing my feelings over my desires. Very different outcomes, I notice. It's interesting. I want to dive into that even more. I got to even process that. Prioritizing my feelings over my desires. Yeah, I'd love to know more about what that means to you and where you're kind of getting in your own way. I also see here, I just found out I'm a type 2 diabetic and need to stop letting people steal my time and energy. Yes, to make myself well. Your energy is your most precious asset. I mean, well, your energy and your time, time and energy. Where are you putting your energy? Where are you putting your time? It's not money. It's not things. Those will come and go. There's an abundance, but time, you can't buy it. You can't trade it. You got to be intentional with it. And there's no guarantees. As morbid as it is, there's no guarantees. So how can you be intentional with your boundaries? How can you be intentional with guarding your energy? How can you be intentional with guarding your space? That's what I want to leave you with today. And so my offer to you, what I'll say at the close of all this, is just remembering to find the light. Find the light, find the gratitude, find the nuggets of joy where they're sprinkled in your life. And once you find it each day, say to yourself, I see the light. Now I'm going to be the light. And once I am the light, I know I can reflect the light. Right? Serve yourself so you can serve others. Find the light, be the light, reflect the light. One more comment here. Wanting something is one thing, but always aligned with your true deeper feelings. Yeah, like being truly aligned makes both separate and clear. 100%. Yes, I'm going to show this. So wanting something is one thing, but always aligned with your true deep feelings. So that's exactly it. Why do you want that? Like, desiring something is one thing, but what are your true feelings and how can you make sure that that is what you're honoring first and foremost, above desires, above wants? And when you to line them and when you tune them together, the magic happens. You co-create. You co-create and you bring what is true to you with what you desire, and it creates like a straight string, and it's your path of least resistance. It's the straightest line. It's the most efficient way. Simple, not easy. All right, my friends, my loves, thank you for being here with me in this space. I am here for you. I will see you next Friday. I will be in Chicago. This should be interesting. I'm heading out there for a wedding, going solo. I'm going for my stepsister's cousin's wedding. It's like a second degree of separation, but I'm excited because I'm going to be with my dad, my stepmom, and that side of the family. And family is one of my values. So that's why I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to show up. All right, peeps. Great to see you. Have a wonderful weekend. Go be that light and reflect it. I love you. I will see you soon. I will see you later.